Hi, and welcome back to Core 4 Adventures. I'm Laura.
And I'm Carol.
And we recently took our very first cruise, and we made a few mistakes.
And so today we wanted to talk about the mistakes that we made so that you could learn from our mistakes if you are thinking about booking your first cruise. But before we get started, if you find this information helpful in any way, we'd love it if you subscribe to our channel so that you can get more content about traveling.
So the first thing you could do wrong is to book the wrong flight. And this could really happen in 3 different ways.
The first way is trying to book a flight that arrives in your port departure city the same day as your embarkation day.
It's just cutting it too close. What if your flight's delayed? You don't want to miss your cruise altogether. Even if your flight's on time, what if they lose your luggage? You don't want to go an entire cruise without any clothing or toiletries or anything that you needed to bring with you.
And I just cannot imagine the stress of trying to fly all the way to the port city and then making it to the cruise port all in time for embarkation. So what we recommend that you do instead is fly in a day or 2 days before your embarkation day, so that way you have no chance of something going wrong.
On our last cruise, we had the port city of Seattle. My husband and I had never been there. We flew in a couple days ahead and had a great time exploring the city as a great start for our vacation.
And in fact, we used the Seattle City Pass, and we've got a couple videos all about the Seattle City Pass and what we did on those 2 days before our cruise. And you can check it out at this link right here.
So the next flight mistake is to book your flight too early on disembarkation day.
First off, you have to get up super early so that you can get off the ship and make it to the airport in time. And who wants to do that? It's not a great way to end your vacation. When Pepper and I were leaving Seattle from our Alaskan cruise, we had a very early flight, and we weren't able to take advantage of some of the luggage programs that Laura and Randy were able to take advantage of. In Seattle, they have it where you can check your bag on the ship and it'll arrive at your final destination airport. You never have to worry about it again. Pepper and I had to take our luggage off the ship ourselves, get it on the bus, get it to the airport, get it through security, all of that stuff on our own, and it would have been so much easier if we'd had a later flight that day.
Randy and I did have a later flight, and it was much easier. It also gave us almost an entire extra day in Seattle, which was really great. We got to go to Pike Place Market and watch them throw the fish and explore that whole area that we hadn't gotten to get to on the first 2 days that we were there in Seattle. We recommend giving yourself plenty of time on disembarkation day. It will take a lot of stress out of the process of getting home.
And the final flight mistake that you could make is booking your flight through the cruise line. Now, this is a mixed recommendation because there are some positives to booking your flight through the cruise line. Number one, it is a possibility that it could be cheaper for you. However, there are also some downsides.
There really are. Some of the cons are you have absolutely no control over your flight. You're allowed to put a deviation in at the beginning or end of your flight before they book the flights so that you can stay in the port city for an extra day or 2, but they're going to be in complete control of the flights. On our way to Seattle, we did all end up on the same flight, but it was at the crack of dawn that morning. And then on the way home, their flight was at a completely different time than ours. So our city that we were flying out of was a couple of hours from our house, and we had to take separate vehicles. In the long run, it probably would have been cheaper for us just to book out of our city and do it direct and not go through NCL at all.
So we recommend that you do what's best for you, but for us, we're going to be booking our own flights from now on.
The second mistake that first-time cruisers make is not booking things early enough. Excursions, entertainment, and specialty dining are all going to require reservations.
And we recommend that you get online and get those booked as early as you possibly can. Oftentimes, you can get those reservations 120 days before your cruise starts. So mark that on your calendar and go online and get those reservations early. And if you can't get them early, you can often get them on the app on embarkation day.
There is a place on every one of the ships that you can go to book the reservations if you don't do it on the app, but check out the app. On our last cruise, Carol and I went to stand in line to get the last of the reservations that we needed, and while we were standing in line, I thought, why don't I check the app and just see if I can go ahead and book them there? I was able to, with a few quick clicks, booked the last reservations that we needed, and we were able to get on with our vacation.
The next mistake that first-time cruisers often make is overpacking. Now, it's your first cruise, you don't know what to expect, so you want to bring everything in case you need it. However, if you've overpacked, you have to deal with all that luggage through the airport and on embarkation day. And don't overlook the fact that your cabin is going to be smaller than you expect. So if you've overpacked, you're going to have to find storage once you get into your cabin, and it can make it feel a little overcrowded.
And there's lots of things you can do. You can rewear your clothes while you're on the cruise. For example, we often bring only a couple outfits for dinner and just rewear them because they're only on for a couple of hours an evening. And you can always wash things in your sink in the bathroom of your cruise cabin. And they even make special little packets of Tide to bring with you specifically for washing clothes in a sink. Also, most cruise lines, if your cruise is a week or longer, will offer a laundry special about halfway through. That's really helpful.
Most of the time, it's like you fill a bag with the laundry and it's for one price. Now, we did not time this out correctly on the last cruise and had to send a few items before the day of the laundry special, and our room attendant was dismayed that we were paying full price for it, but you do what you gotta do. So the next mistake is something that I actually did on our very first cruise, and I certainly regretted it, and that was I over-ordered water for our cabin. Now, most cruise lines have water specials where you can get bottles of water delivered to your cabin to use throughout the cruise. And I did not understand that these were 1-liter bottles. Instead, I thought they were the normal water bottle size. So I think I ordered about 48 of them. 48 liters of water. There was no way that we could go through all of that in a week-long cruise, even if we were sharing with the people in the cabin next door.
And there's lots of other things that you can do. There's water available in lots of places on the cruise ship, so I recommend bringing a reusable water bottle. That's what we did on the last cruise, and most of the bars as well as the buffet, you can get that filled up so that you have water with you. And sometimes it's easier if you're not going to need a lot of water to just pay the price of the mini bar. I think I ended up buying 2 bottles on our last cruise, and it was way cheaper than if I had bought one of those packages.
Another mistake that you can make is not doing all of the ship activities that you really want to do. Our last cruise, we were on the NCL Encore, and we really wanted to ride the go-karts and do the escape room, but we ran out of time. And when we were on the NCL Escape, we wanted to try out that ropes course, but we didn't get the opportunity as well.
So we recommend making a list of all of those activities that are your top priority and get them checked off. Use embarkation day and port days as a great way to do that. If it's a short port day, you're only going to be off the ship for a few hours, and sometimes those activities can be a little less expensive on a port day. So the next mistake that cruisers make is getting sunburned on their cruise, especially on the first day. Getting sunburned can ruin your entire cruise. Put on sunscreen liberally and don't forget your face. I forgot my face on our first day in Taino Bay on the Escape, and my face was sunburned the entire rest of the cruise.
So yes, we recommend that you wear sunscreen and that you reapply it often. And if you're going to be swimming in the ocean, make sure that it is reef-safe sunscreen to help protect the environment. In addition to sunscreen, there's a couple things that you could also consider, like a rash guard. If you're going to be snorkeling, I recommend this because it'll protect your shoulders and upper back if you're laying face down in the water for a really long time. And also, don't forget a sun hat to help protect your face.
The next mistake is drinking too much or eating too much on your cruise, especially on that first day.
Yeah, and don't feel pressured to eat too much when you're on a cruise. The portions on the cruise lines are ginormous. Only eat what you want, and also be aware, don't over order food and have a lot of food waste either.
We recommend that you pace yourself. It is a marathon, not a sprint. You're probably going to be on that ship for at least a few days, if not a week or two. You're going to get to everything and you're going to get to try it all and have a great experience. But if you push yourself too hard in the very beginning, it just makes for a miserable beginning of your trip.
Another mistake that first-time cruisers make is not taking advantage of the free photography available on the ship. Now, most cruise lines will do this where they will have a beautiful backdrop set up and a professional photographer, and all you have to do is stop by and have your picture taken and give them your room number.
Now, you don't have to buy these photos, but if they're amazing, you absolutely can. One of our favorite photos that we've ever had taken of ourselves was on my birthday on the Escape, and we're really glad we had that done.
So you take these photos throughout the cruise cruise, and at the end you go by the photography studio and you can look at all of them. And again, you do not have to buy any of them, but if there is one special photo that turned out really, really great, you have that opportunity available to you.
And speaking of not having to buy any photos, don't feel pressured if they print one out at a restaurant and bring it to you. It is not your obligation to buy that one either, so keep that in mind.
Now, don't make this next mistake, which is not researching the ports ahead of time. We recommend that you do your research and have a plan before you get off the ship.
Pre-book your excursions, or at the very least book with a third party as soon as you get off the ship. You need to plan, but don't over-plan because you never know what's going to happen. For example, when we were in Tortola, we knew we wanted to go snorkeling. While we were at the beach, a local guide told us about a shipwreck that was very close to where we were, and we got to go snorkel a shipwreck, and it was one of the most amazing excursions that we've ever been on.
And if you'd like to see footage from that, we've got that video available, and I will link it right here as well. Another thing that you want to research about the ports that you're going to, is there any local customs or things that you need to consider, such as if you're going to a religious destination, do you need to be wearing clothing that covers your shoulders or your knees? Or if you're going to the Caribbean, did you know that they do not recommend that you wear camouflage? Because in those areas, camouflage is really reserved for just the military.
And it's always great to learn just at least a little of the basics of the language of the places that you're going to go. It really helps open the barrier between you and the locals. And make sure you know how to get around. Is the port something that you could walk through? Is there public transportation that you could take? Do you need to take a taxi? Is Uber available? Do they have something similar to Uber? You should have that all planned ahead of time, and if you need to download an app, do it at home before you get there.
And finally, know when you need to be back on board the ship. They will have signs posted when you exit the ship on what time you need to come back. Now that is based on ship time. Ship time can be different from port time, so make sure that you check that out and know exactly when you need to be back on board, because they will not wait for you.
So the next mistake that a lot of cruisers make is not reading that cruise daily or cruise pamphlet that they put in your room every night. It is full of valuable information. If there are itinerary changes, time zone changes, or activities that are available, it's going to be in that pamphlet.
Something else that will be included are any special deals that are going on the ship, or information about the port that you're stopping at on the next day. I recommend that you read that cruise daily every single day, and I even bring along a highlighter with me to help highlight the activities or specials that I want to take advantage of.
Don't make this mistake. Always get travel insurance, at least at the bare minimum, travel insurance that covers trip cancellations and medical emergencies. You never know what's going to happen.
For me, this actually came into play in March of 2020. Pepper and I were scheduled to go to Paris for our 20th wedding anniversary, and we didn't get to go on our trip. But because I had purchased travel insurance, everything was refunded, from our hotels to our airfare, and we got to go on that same exact trip 2 years later.
Whether you do this travel insurance through the cruise line or an independent third party is completely up to you, but do not skip this step.
Many first-time cruisers make this mistake, which is not being prepared for itinerary changes. The fact of the matter is that the cruise line cannot control the weather, they can't control the ocean, or even world affairs. Itineraries can and do change, so you need to be prepared and go with the flow.
Don't let it spoil your vacation, because there's nothing they can do about it, and it just is what it is. For example, on my actual birthday, on my birthday vacation, they had to skip Great Stirrup Cay. But we just pivoted and spent the day in the spa instead and had a fantastic day anyway. It's all about attitude.
Another mistake that first-time cruisers make is not budgeting for gratuities or onboard activities.
Even if you prepay your gratuities with the cruise line, you will find that you want to do some tipping on the spot for people such as the porter, the pedicab, the tour guide, or even the taxi driver.
And the onboard activities that are extra can sometimes really enhance your cruise, like the go-karts or the arcade or even the virtual reality area. And there are some onboard extras that you're going to want to have some money for, because they can make your cruise extra special.
And the last mistake that first-time cruisers make is not trying new things. You're on vacation. Loosen up, enjoy yourself. Try that new food you've always wanted to try. Try the drink of the day. If you don't like it, you can always put put it aside and go get something else, especially if you have that drink package.
And if you're out and about on activities and adventures, try something new. Be open to whatever experience could be coming your way. Let go and have an amazing time.
We really hope this video was helpful as you plan your first cruise. If it was, please give us a like.
And we'd love to invite you to subscribe to our channel and turn on that notification bell so you never miss anything from Core4Adventures. And if you have a cruise mistake that we didn't mention today, make sure you drop it in the comment box below. We will respond to you.
Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time on Core4Adventures. Bye!